I've always detested the senior citizen from New York. Senior senator from New York, Charles Chucky Schmucky Schumer. He's a menace. He's clownish. And he believes in abusing power at every turn, whether it's filibustering judicial nominees or what have you. He's a menace. He was on the so-called cable network called MSLSD. Now, they don't call themselves MSLSD, but I ask you, do not all the hosts appear to be on LSD? Yes. Hence, MSLSD. I want you to listen to Schmucky on the show of somebody called Rachel Madcow. Cut 3, go.
They have nothing positive to say. The world has changed. The old Reagan philosophy, which, served them well politically from 1980 to about 2004, 2006, is over. But the hard right, which still believes when the federal government moves, chop off its hands, still believes, the traditional values kind of arguments and strong foreign policy, all that's over. And I think President Obama has a pretty smart strategy. He's going to talk bipartisanship to the American people, but realizes that until the Republican grassroots pushes their people over, if that ever happens, we're not going to get change in the House and Senate.
Is that not a sick man? Is that not a sick man? And yet, he's respected throughout the corners of Washington and New York. Yes, those traditional value things. Let me talk about that for a second. And I'll get to this strong foreign policy. He doesn't think we need that either. Many people look down on what they call social conservatives. There's no such thing as social conservatives or free market conservatives or national security conservatives. I explained this in Liberty and Tyranny. Conservatism is all those things and more. We don't break people into categories. Now, what is a social conservative? Let me explain something. If you do not believe that there is a transcendent moral order, as Edmund Burke described it, and many others before him for that matter, a transcendent moral order that both promotes humanity and puts constraints on humanity, then what do you believe in? Then what do you believe in? Whether you're a religious person, whatever that means, or not, whatever that means. If you don't believe there's some transcendent moral order that undergirds all civil societies, then what do you believe? Because we know there is not a moral order to tyranny because it rejects morality. Tyrants reject morality. Now, what are traditional values? Traditional values are traditional morals that have been preached throughout the ages, from one generation to the next, and that's what makes us human beings and not rabid dogs. And so what the statist does, and too many Republicans nod their head in agreement, is they try to corral people as social conservatives as if there's something wrong with them, and we're going to the zoo and we're looking at the reptile room. Well, this isn't a zoo and there is no reptile room. Moral order is the foundation to our civil and criminal law. Moral order is the foundation to our founding document, the Declaration of Independence. Moral order is the foundation to the Constitution of the United States. Moral order is the foundation of this society. It doesn't mean we're perfect. Hell, we're imperfect. And everybody knows it. Our institutions are imperfect. And everybody knows it. But they're more perfect because we accept and embrace a transcendent moral order that tells us that there is a difference between good and bad, and right and wrong. What was it that ended slavery? A transcendent moral order. You cannot have a Declaration of Independence in which unalienable rights are proclaimed and maintain slavery forever in this society. And we didn't. And we didn't. Now, the second part of what Schumer said, because he's such an ignoramus, these arguments and a strong foreign policy, all that is over. Doesn't that reveal a great deal about the statist? Didn't Schumer just reveal a great deal about what he is and statists like him are? You're against a strong foreign policy? We're not going to run on a strong foreign policy? And then when we point it out, we're mocked like there's something wrong with us. It comes out of his mouth. He confesses to it because he's in an environment where he thinks, that Rachel Madcow will be bobbing her head up and down. Yeah, you tell him, Chucky. Yeah. And we hear it. And he also said Obama is going to talk bipartisanship to the American people. Did you catch that? He's going to talk it. He's not going to act on it. He's going to talk it. This is why the Pew poll showed that Obama is the most, dividing president in modern history since they've been taking polls. The nation is more divided over him than any other president because of his policies. So he'll talk bipartisanship, but his strategy is to ram home whatever he can as fast as he can. And we know it, and we see it, and we're monitoring it, and we're calling them out on it. And then Schumer says, but Obama realizes until the Republican grassroots pushes their people over, if that ever happens, we're not going to get change in the House or the Senate. What he's saying is, you either go along with the statist, we either go along and don't oppose what they're doing, or we're not going to have bipartisanship. In other words, they're not going to meet us halfway. They don't have to meet us halfway. We either consent to their demands or we don't. Obama will keep talking bipartisanship, but in the Senate and the House, they're still going to rule with iron fists no matter what. So the Putz Schumer revealed a great deal, more than he even realizes he revealed.